Hello Virgo, Elsie here to do your reading. It is a monthly reading. We're looking at July, Virgo. How you doing? I hope you're well. Thank you so much for clicking here. We've got one oracle deck we're going to be using, and look, July is going to be a turning point for most people. And if you want it, it can change. It can change the rest of the year and how it goes. You know, we have a lot of things coming up in July. And the reason I'm saying that this is going to be like a massive shift for you, or generational shift even, is because of all the planetary movements, right? We've got Cancer, we've got Mercury retrograde in Cancer, which is going to give us emotional reflection for most of the month. It's going to be in retrograde for most of the month of July. But we've had some major placements of planets that have moved around. And some of those are Neptune in Aries, which is awakening, and Saturn in Aries, which is responsibilities. Like it says, okay, now that you've awoken, what are you doing with it? And then Uranus entered Gemini, which is disruption of the thought patterns and minds, right? Your ruling planet is Mercury, and because Uranus is in Gemini, it's helping you change your mind as well. Chiron has entered Taurus, and that's about worth and healing, and you're an earth sign as well. Now these planets aren't moving for a while, right? Neptune 14 years, Saturn 2.5 years, Uranus is going to be there for 7 or 8 years, and so on. So this really is a time in your life where you are going to be taking on a new identity based on all of the shifts and changes that are here. So we're going to ask 3 questions. How are you showing up in July? Let's start with that. How are you showing up in July? We have, the Badger Spirit. You're showing up fearless and bold. Well, I would say that that's very Virgo. You're showing up fearless and bold, but look, you're also showing up in balance. Then we got 4 here. You're showing up in stable, fearless, and bold energy. You're ready to take on July, which is, I think, what you really need to do in this type of environment that we're in. The second question we're going to ask is, what are you going to be reconsidering? Like, what's going to be shifting because of Cancer, Mercury retrograding in Cancer? What are you going to be reconsidering or reflecting on, right? Tell me about that for Virgo. Sweet results await. I feel like you are being very aware of where you're busy, I would say. The bee is here, and they're always in motion. They're always doing something for someone, and that accounts for your beautiful service sort of energy, right? You're always in the service of others. Whenever they need you, you're there. 7 to me is heaven. It feels like the universe looks in on you and says, look, you're always the busy bee. It feels like sweet results await for you when you kind of learn where to place all of that busy energy. And maybe some of it will be pointing back at you and not necessarily giving it away to other people. Let's talk about what you should be focused on in July, because there's going to be a lot of energy, a lot of movement, and this kind of is a turning point in the year for you. So what is necessary for you to pull in this new identity for the rest of the year? Tell me about July, though. Tell me what your focus is in July. Your focus is love is all around. So it feels like you are going to be recognizing or realizing that love is all around. You'll be singing its praises, it feels like, but also I feel like it feels like a double-edged sword, because this is a card number 41, which is a 5. Nightingale spirit. Look, it reminds me of Florence Nightingale, the famous nurse, right? Always in care of others. But I feel like you're realizing that love is all around, and that people need to love you for who you are and not what you can bring for them, not how you can save them, not how you can service them. So I think that you're going to be very specifically recognizing patterns in people and what they expect of you. Or do they expect it? Is it something that they really, celebrate when you show up as the busy bee to help with whatever project they have going, or help with the cooking, or do they expect it? I feel like you are going to be fearless and bold enough to be able to recognize patterns and who's expecting it and who's actually rejoicing because you're here. Got the Scarab Beetle, and it says magic work through you. It's card number 52. Ooh, which is another 7. This could be a very abundant month for you here. Let's find out what else is going on. Let's look through the tarot for a little bit. Tell me about Virgo. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, and Jupiter signs. Tell me what's going on for Virgo in the month of July. Tell me about Virgo. Scarab beetles, by the way, are considered to be very lucky. And although they're infestation bugs when they show up, they're beetles that show up in groups. So they're not very pleasant to deal with, and they can bite, as though I've heard. But they are a good omen if they show up at a wedding or whatever. Yeah, and I don't think that they're in all parts of the world. All right, let's find out more. We've got, okay, the moon is here. Tell me why the moon is here. I don't think that you see that the sweet results await. I feel as though it really does feel like the energy I'm getting from the King of Pentacles is your energy, but I'm feeling somebody putting their foot down. And, excuse me, putting their foot down because it's solid ground and I need to ground myself. I got to stop allowing people to tell me what to do and where to go and when to be there and putting me on their schedule. It feels like with the moon energy here, what you don't see is, the King of Pentacles does take control of their 3D. They start making their own schedule, doing their own thing. This person has a lot of wisdom. They know where to put their money, time, effort, energy. They become an expert at it. All the kings have some sort of specialty or mastery, and I think you're mastering the 3D. You're mastering your time, effort, energy, your money. It's not that you don't have the energy to do it, I feel, but I think that you are realizing that sweeter results are waiting if you decide to take back some of your energy and not give it to other people. I also feel like the bee being next to the King of Coins tells me money is about to pick up for you. It does feel like more clients, or maybe a better job, or maybe you get that small raise or a promotion or something. It feels like, I don't know, maybe your pension is indexed or something like that. It feels like something, busy bee. It feels like something here you're being blessed with, because the sevens, to me, sevens are about heaven, and you're showing up fearless and bold. It feels like that there is some sort of financial thing that is going to pick up. Look, it may not be huge, but it feels like something financially is about to pick up for you in July as well. We've got the Knight of Swords. So something here is happening very quickly. I feel like that you are going to start noticing the patterns of other people around you. It feels like some people are going to become verbally aggressive with you when they realize that you are showing up fearless and bold. I don't think that you're a pushover. I don't think I've ever met a Virgo who was, but I also do know that Virgo has quite a big heart, and that you are somebody who will less likely to argue or fight about it and just notice where help is needed and help with what is needed. But I do feel that now you might be a little more verbal about it. I'm just saying, love is all around, but I'm looking at, but it's not like I'm not going to say something. I'm looking at the music coming out here. It feels like somebody's expressing themselves. And so it might be verbally here. Something feels like it's arriving. It could be a request. It could be for help, because busy bee spirit, right? Let's find out what else is going on in the month of July. We've got the 10 of Swords. We've got the 4 of Wands. I think this is good news that's arriving. It feels like somebody is about to show up and give you some sort of celebratory news. Something about something that is going to work out financially for you. It's going to see you as giving more stability to your kingdom, to your house, to your home, to your job, to your career. It feels like it's good news that is showing up here. And then we have the 5 of Swords. It feels like you can see that there's a little bit of dark, sort of ominous energy here. There is something here that I think you're expecting to go wrong. And I don't necessarily know that that's true, because the moon is illusion. You may be feeling nervous about something, feeling like something's going to go wrong. Maybe there's an underlying feeling of you're worried about finances, or worried about money, worried about the house or the car, the amount of things that are going up, up, and up. Maybe your wage isn't going up, and you're trying to build the kingdom. The 10 of Swords tells me, if it's giving me more worry, the end of some sort of worry, because The moon energy is kind of ominous and a little bit heavy, and things are not as they seem. So I'm going to say that there might be some worry here going on for no reason. You are going to get some clarity, but I do believe it's going to draw a line in the sand. I really do believe that this is a month where you're really drawing a line in the sand. And I think that I was saying that from the very beginning. It feels like people are going to be expecting you to carry on as usual. And I feel like you're going to be pulling back your energy a bit, because I feel like something else is going to be pulling your energy forward. This is the future for me. This is the past. So something is arriving quickly and aggressively that will make you celebrate, and it feels like it might be in addition to your home. Maybe you're approved for a loan, but it feels like you've been worrying about money, or maybe you've been giving away too much of your energy. Maybe you're feeling a little bit exhausted about being the busy bee. So it feels like when you begin to pull back your energy, which I think that you're about to do, you're kind of doing it in a loving way, but you're standing up for yourself here. You know, fearless and bold is how you're showing up in July, and you're very protective over the fours, over the stability, over your home. You're really digging your heels in, it feels like, because Taurus energy is here. This is Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, of course, in a general reading, but it feels like you're digging in your heels and saying, no, I'm not doing that anymore. And it becomes a fundamental difference between you and somebody else, and they feel betrayed by you. Look, maybe you usually give them things. Maybe you usually supply a child, or an adult child, or a friend, or somebody with money or time or effort or energy. And I feel like now that something else has got your attention, that I feel like there becomes some sort of fundamental difference between you and someone else who feels like you've betrayed them. That you have all of this abundance. They see you as being very wealthy, or they see you as having a lot of time to spend. You could be an entrepreneur. That's another thing I get, right? That people think that I don't really do anything just because I'm a YouTuber. But I have so many other things going on in the background. I run a whole business. I'm a mother. I have all the things that you're doing in your house and your life as well. Groceries and laundry and all that stuff, right? I feel like somebody sees you as having a lot of free time and not wanting to give it to them. And they're seeing you as holding your energy back just because. We've got the Five of Pentacles. Yeah, it feels like you're probably going to have to disconnect from somebody who is, I feel, trying to, I'm going to say, command you or badger you into doing something for them that you would do usually. Look at this. We got the Emperor and the Empress here. I feel like this is going to be a month of you taking control of your abundance, is what it feels like. But also, we're not going to ignore that the Emperor and the Empress have the Five of Pentacles here. I feel like you and somebody else have been separate from each other. And look, because we're through the month of July and Mercury is in retrograde, right? This is emotional reflection. It feels like you're reflecting on a time that you are possibly, if maybe you're the Empress, maybe the Emperor. It feels like that there was a connection between you and somebody else. You possibly stood up and said, no, you can't do this anymore. Or this is somebody who I feel that maybe there was a ghosting or an ending that didn't feel like an ending. We just grew apart, because the Five of Pentacles is here with the Moon. So if this is something that is romantic for you in the month of July, it does feel like it could end up coming back around because, well, retrograde, right? And it is an emotional retrograde. Let's get back to where we were. So I feel like it does feel like there is somebody who sees you as a bit of a tyrant, somebody who's holding the purse strings or has all the money, or maybe you have a few cars and won't let them use one. It feels like somebody sees you as being very abundant and that you're not willing to help. I'm going to say that that person is someone who usually comes to you and needs money, your time or your efforts or your energy. It feels like it's somebody who comes to you regularly, once a month, like clockwork. They show up and they ask you for something that is connected to their 3D. Let's talk about this King of Pentacles, because the King of Pentacles is a person who's very grounded. They're very practical and they're going to make logical decisions. They're not going to help just because. They're going to help, but I feel like somebody comes in as the Emperor and says, well, you said last month and you said come back next month. Like, it feels like they start to expect you to help them. But I think that your life is very full. Busy bee, right? It feels like your life is very full. You're very blessed. You are probably in July doing very well financially, or life is really grounded, moving slowly, and moving in a very stable way for you. And somebody here who's not necessarily stable in their life feels like you owe them something. We've got the Four of Cups. We've got the Judgment card showing up in the reverse. That just sort of flipped open, if you noticed. And we've got the King of Wands. So it does feel like someone is really going to misjudge you in the month of July. They're going to see you as a bit of a tyrant or someone who's trying to keep control by controlling abundance. That happens when we're overgiving. And you can tend to do that sometimes, Virgo, that you're always there when somebody needs you. I'll get that for you. And then all of a sudden you turn within and think, you know what? Maybe it's time that I stop just showing up just because. Because it does create codependency. We've got something, though, that gets your attention partway through the month. It feels like a message comes in or some sort of celebratory news. It might be, yeah, you get the mortgage. It feels like it's around celebratory, action-related stability, like something that you have really been. Maybe people see you as being rich because you're a person who's a really good saver. Maybe you've been saving to upgrade the house or do something to the home or buy a new house or buy a new car. It feels like some really good news is coming in terms of finances for you here. Tell me what this good news is, or it's good news that's coming to your home. It could be in the form of a letter or something else. We've got the King of Cups is going to make you emotionally happy, but I feel like it's news that makes you emotional. I think you're going to take it quietly, though. I don't think you're going to let anybody see that it makes you quite emotional. It does feel like it is a healing energy. It does feel like financial relief, I'm just going to say. It feels like an answer you wanted, something that is about your stability. It feels like you go to the next level of something. And it does feel like other people are completely and totally misjudging you. Look, it's not like you're getting this thing, Virgo, because you just sat around and waited for pixie dust to be sprinkled on your head. That's not the way it works. You worked really hard for it. And I know that because Taurus is in the center of your reading, right? And you work really hard. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn energy here. I feel like you're a person who goes out and gets what you want. If you want it, you go out, you work hard on it, and you get it. But I feel like somebody's feeling rejected by you, specifically in the month of July, because you're just not willing to hand over your abundance, whatever it is that you've built. They see you as a bit of a tyrant, and they see you as pushing them on the outside looking in. So I feel like this good news that shows up here makes you emotionally hopeful. So whatever it is, it's something that heals you emotionally, makes you emotionally hopeful. It could be about the family. The Four of Wands is here. But I feel like also it heals some sort of exhaustion, or it heals something that has hurt you for a very long time, or that has been exhausting you for a really long time. It feels like I no longer want to be in the 9. I just want to drop this burden. So whatever it is makes you feel hopeful. It is quite emotional. It does make you happy. It's a reason to celebrate. But I feel like as the other people who would usually get your time, effort, or energy, they're the ones, maybe it's one person. This is the person who is feeling like you have betrayed them. They feel like you've changed and now we've got fundamental differences and you're not going to help me out the way you usually do. That's what it feels like. And it's not because you don't want to. It's because you're trying to take time for yourself. But you're showing up as very bold. You're putting your foot down, I feel, in the month of July is what it feels like here. Look, it's not like you're not kind and compassionate here, but I feel like at some point you have to take care of yourself. I feel like you have to be confident enough to be able to say no. And I think that that's what's going to be happening. We're going to go to the extended. We're going to talk more about these oracles. We're going to talk more about the stuff that we haven't clarified. And we're going to explain this more, because for some of you, this is romantic related. There might be someone coming back around with this Mercury retrograde happening and you don't see it coming. But this, I feel, is also probably connected to the rest of the reading. For others of you who are not looking at this romantically, we're connected to it as someone seeing you as someone who's holding back your abundance on purpose. We'll talk about that. Please go to the extended. You will see that there is a pinned comment at the top of all the comments. You will see that there's a membership link there. That's where all of these extendeds go. And if you're interested in a private reading, if you want to know what's happening for the next 6 months, I do have a reading for the next 6 months. If you're interested on whatever that's going to be on your personal energy, please look at the Hypsee link. You will see all my packages and pricing there. I'm going to go to the extended. We're going to get this figured out and I'll be there. But if you are not, that's cool. I'll be back because I'm always back. And look, I got the weeklies coming up. It's going to be a busy week of readings. So you will have, in a couple of days, you will have your weeklies, which is the bridge into the monthlies. I'm going to go for now. Take care, Virgo. Thank you so much for coming by and watching. Bye-bye.